What's up, guys? Welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I am Daniel and we are back with another video. In this video we are going to be ranking the best centre-backs from every single club, all 20 Premier League clubs. We have got what I perceive as the best centre-back from each club, or a centre-back from each club in some cases. We're going to be ranking them in a tier list. The 5 tiers we have today are legend, incredible, he's good, I need to be convinced, and championship at best. Before we do get into the video, please go down below, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Over 963% of you that watch every video are not subscribed, so please click that big red subscribe button, drop a comment down below what you think of the video, and go and follow us on both Instagram and TikTok. Daniel Talks Football on both. Yeah, let's get straight into it, and let's start with Kurt Zouma. Now, talking about Kurt Zouma, we're talking about his football ability, strictly football ability, nothing to do with what he does off the pitch. That is all entirely awful, and personally, I don't think the bloke should still be playing for West Ham. However, he is. We're going to rank him on his football ability. Football-wise, he's a good centre-back. Zouma was always a solid centre-back whenever he played for Chelsea, and consistently performed at a decent level whenever he got game time for them. Obviously, a couple of years back, he left the Blues to move to the Hammers. And ever since moving to the Hammers, he has been a consistently good performer. In every game he's played, he's been consistent. He's looked good. And he is just a good centre-back. If his off-the-pitch shenanigans wouldn't have happened, I could have seen him get a move possibly. But I do think he'll probably stay at West Ham now for a while. But Zouma's a good centre-back. So, yeah, Kurt Zouma into the he's good section. Next up, let's go for someone that I actually rate really highly. Bella Kotchap. I'm putting Bella Kotchap into the incredible tier. This could be so premature, but I think he's such a good centre-back, and I really, really like him for Southampton. I think the video will already be out on the channel as this is going out. I think. But I actually tipped him to move to Manchester United in a video. I think he's such a good centre-back, and he's going right to the top of the game. Any time I've watched him this year, he just looks composed on the ball. He just looks like a class act. And he's somebody that you would absolutely want in your side. I think he will get a move to a top side either this year or next year. And for me, Bella Kotchap, he just looks absolutely incredible. He goes into the incredible tier, and that could be a bit too premature, but I'm doing it. Bella Kotchap, incredible. Next up, let's go for a player that I was actually really excited about when they first moved to the Prem, Marco Senesi. Now, this could just be he's in the wrong side, but for me, he's going into Championship at best. He just hasn't been performing for Bournemouth, and I really like him as a centre-back. I thought he was really good at Feyenoord. Anytime I watched him for Argentina, I thought he was really, really good. But he just doesn't seem to be working out at Bournemouth, and I don't like to say it because I think he's a really good centre-back. I think if/when Bournemouth go down, he will get a move to maybe the Ligue 1 or Syria, and he will do really well there. But the Premier League just isn't the league for him, and that's why I've got to put him at Championship at best. He's not performing for Bournemouth, you know, in a side where I'm pretty sure on his debut they conceded 9. That's everything you need to know about him. I do think he's a good centre-back. He's just not suited to the Prem, and that happens with a lot of players. But for me, Marco Senesi, Championship at best, even though it pains me to say it. Next up, let's go for a big boy. Let's go for Thiago Silva. Now, for me, Thiago Silva is the first person to put into the legend tier. He is a legend of football. Wherever he's played, if it's at PSG or obviously more recently at Chelsea, Thiago Silva is a class act on the ball. He's a class act as a centre-back. He's a really, really good defender. He's really good at playing out. He works really well in the back three. I know he doesn't have much pace anymore, but that's because he's, 37 now, I think. The Brazilian is just an incredible, incredible player. And he just suits the legend category perfectly. He's played football for so many years. Ever since he's come to Chelsea, you know, he won the Champions League, didn't he? He looks like a really, really good player. And Is he a legend for Chelsea yet? I'm not 100% sure, but is he a legend of football? Absolutely. For me, Thiago Silva, you go into the legend category, and it's where you rightly belong. There's not much more to say on it. I just think you are a top player. Next up, let's go for Issa Diop. Now, I have just realised the photo I've got of Diop is him in a West Ham shirt. And now he obviously plays for Fulham. And we are ranking him as a Fulham player, of course. For me, I'm putting Diop into... I'm putting him into Championship at best. Again, he never impressed me while he was at West Ham. He got his move to Fulham for a big price tag of around 15 million. And again, he just hasn't impressed me as of yet. When I put Fulham at 12th in the prediction video, I said that their centre-backs were the one thing that was holding me back from putting them in that position. I do think I put them too high looking back in hindsight, to be honest. The centre-back of Diop and Duffy just does not convince me. And I don't think Diop's good enough for the Prem. I think a move to Ligue 1 would suit him. I don't like Diop at all particularly, and I don't think he's good enough. For me, Diop, Championship at best. I'm sorry. You were a decent backup centre-back for West Ham, but their fans weren't convinced about you, and I'm not convinced about you. So for me, it's a Diop, Championship at best. Next up, let's put a man that you can barely see on the images of current, but it is Saliba. For me, Saliba, I'm putting him into incredible. He just is. Throughout his loan moves in Ligue 1, he looked like a top player, and now he's come back to the Prem. Arteta's managed him really well with those loan moves. He's come back to the Prem now, and he just looks incredible. He looks like he will be taking Arsenal to the Champions League, or possibly even further this season. And the Frenchman just looks like a top centre-back. He will go to the top of the game. I could see him easily getting moved to Real Madrid within the next few years. Obviously, it was him and Fofana at St Etienne a few years back, and they've both gone on to be top players. As a Leicester fan, it hurts me to say about Fofana, but they've both gone on to be top players. For me, Saliba, he's an incredible footballer, and I don't think it will be long before we're seeing him in that incredible tier. Next up, let's go for another legend. Let's go for Virgil van Dijk. What more do I need to say? He's won the Champions League, he's won the Premier League with this Liverpool side. A few years back when he got that big injury, you could really see the drop-off in the Reds. And for me, he just screams legend. Everything he's done for Liverpool, he's just been incredible for Liverpool. He's the captain when obviously Henderson isn't playing. And he just fits that role so well. As soon as Henderson does move on, or as he plays less and less, Van Dijk does epitomise captain, leader, legend, really. Even though he hasn't been the captain much yet. He's such a good player, and he deserves to partner Thiago Silva into that legend category for me. Next up, let's go for Ben Mee. Now, for me, I'm between he's good and I need to be convinced. I'm gonna put him in I need to be convinced. In that Burnley side, he was solid. He's gone to Brentford and he's been solid again. There's a lot of good centre-backs on this list, though. It's more to do with the others on this list. If it was a weaker selection of centre-backs, he probably would be into he's good. But he is a step below Zuma and definitely a step below Bella Kotchap and Saliba. For me, Ben Mee, he's experienced. He's done it for a long time. He's a solid option. But I do need to be convinced. He's not going to convince me at this point, though. Here's the issue. He won't convince me to move up to he's good. Unless he has a massive step up in his game, which I can't foresee. But he's just a step below good for me. So he won't convince me to move up, and I'm sad to say that. I think you're a solid centre-back, Ben Mee. Will I be convinced? No, probably not. But I do need to be convinced for you to move up any further in the tier list. Next up, let's go for Mark Guehi of Crystal Palace. Another one into incredible for me. I think Mark Guehi is one of the future centre-backs of England. Him and Fikayo Tomori will lead England for many Euros and World Cups to come, I think. I think Guehi's an incredible player. Ever since he got that move from Chelsea to Palace, he's really shown what he's about. That summer I wanted him at Leicester and sadly we couldn't get it over the line. But Guehi is just a top player. And I look at him now and he's gone on to do some incredible things with Palace. He will continue to be a top player. And I think he just is incredible. Will he ever take that step up to legend? I feel like he would need a move back to a Big Six club. Could Chelsea possibly be knocking for him in a year or two? Possibly, I could see that. Maybe Liverpool. I can also see him moving to Liverpool to replace Van Dijk and Matip as they start to be phased out of the team as they get older. I think Guehi is an incredible centre-back though, and for me that's where he rightly belongs. Next up, we'll go for Maximilian Kiemann. And he's good. He just is a good centre-back. 23, 24, 25 now. He's a solid option for Wolves at the back. He just looks good every time he plays. He's a solid option. He was cheap when they brought him in, especially for a modern centre-back. And I just look at him and I think, you're good. You're a solid Premier League standard centre-back. Wolves is the right club for you to be at. You won't get a step up probably, but it is just your level. So for me, Max Kiemann, a good quality Premier League centre-back. Next up, we'll go for another person that's going into the he's good section, and that's James Tarkowski. Obviously, Tarkowski got the move from Burnley to Everton this summer after Burnley's relegation. And every year he was at Burnley, he looked quality really. Obviously, last summer he was getting linked left, right and centre. However, Burnley decided to keep him because they would have got rid of him for 20 million, yes. But they were hoping that they could stay in the Premier League, and they felt like Tarkowski was a big enough player to help them do that. They didn't obviously stay up, and he got that move to Everton and looks like a class player for Everton. I really like Tarkowski. I think he's a top quality player, and for me he goes into he's good. He is a solid standard Premier League centre-back, and the he's good category suits him to a T, I think. Next up, we will have another player that's going into the legend category, and that is Reuben Diaz. Is he in the legend category, actually? You know what, he's going into the incredible category, and looking at the players into that incredible category, I think that's really harsh on Diaz. But he's not at the level of Van Dijk or Silva yet. I think he's so close, he just needs a couple more years to be able to be pushed into that legend category. And maybe looking at Guehi and Bella Kotchak now, I think I've done them a little bit too high, but I'm going to stick with it because I do rate them both so highly. For me, Diaz, he just can't be branded as a legend yet because he hasn't done anything big enough with City. Maybe if he were to go on and win the Champions League with this City side, then I could go, look, you are a legend. But he hasn't done that as of yet. I do think he's an incredible footballer though. And he just oozes class throughout his entire playing time at City. So for me, while he can't be quite in that legend category yet, just because he hasn't done it for long enough. You look at the Van Dijks, you look at the Thiago Silvas, they've done it for years upon end. Diaz hasn't quite done that as of yet, but he's just in that incredible category. If I could create another category between incredible and legend, he would absolutely be in that. But he's just an incredible, so close to being pushed up to that legend category for me though. Next up, we will have someone that will be going into the legend category, and that is Raphael Varan. Not all for what he's done at Manchester United, but quite a bit of it for what he's done at Real Madrid. At Real Madrid, he was a serial winner and won Champions League upon Champions League upon Champions League. He's obviously now come to Manchester United, had a rough first season, but the second season, he really looks to have found a partnership with Lisandro Martinez. They look like they're going to be firing Manchester United to the Champions League possibly again this season. I'm not quite sure where they're going to end up. I think it said 6th in the prediction video. But for me, Raphael Varan is a legend. Not exactly of Manchester United, but just of football in general. Varane is a top player, and for me, deserves that legendary status. When he retires, he will get an icon card in FIFA, and for me, that makes you a staple as a legend. Next up, we'll have another player to be going into the he's good category, and that is Lewis Dunk as of Brighton. There's not really too much to say here. He's just been a solid centre-back for the last 3 or 4 years, and hence the he's good category suits him to a T. Brighton in that 3 at the back system, he just works there. Will he get a move? I don't think he will, to be honest. There's not much to say about Dunk. He just is a solid centre-back for Brighton, and hence falls into the he's good category. Next up, we will have... Let's go for Christian Romero. Now, for me, Christian Romero goes into the incredible category. Again, out of the... You know, I'm actually going to order with this incredible category just because I feel like it needs it. I feel like we're something like this when it comes to the incredible category. Romero is a top centre-back, and while he was at Atalanta, he proved that. He's then got that move to Spurs, and last season and the start of this season, he has proved that again. I'm looking at that incredible category, thinking it needed, you know, maybe we needed to make this a 6 tier one, but we've stuck with 5. Romero is top class, and it shows that in the Copa America win that Argentina got, he just oozes class wherever he goes, and whenever he's not in that Spurs side, you can really see the fact that they do in fact miss him a lot. You know, they've got people like Eric Dyer and Ben Davies and Davinson Sanchez and these kind of players, but Romero is just a tier above all of those kind of players. So for me, Christian Romero into the incredible category. Next up, we will go for Robin Koch. Now, for me, I need to be convinced on Koch. He just hasn't convinced me. That's the simpleness of it. I look at Leeds' defence and their centre-back options, and I think Strujic, Koch, Cooper. I'm missing someone, I think. I just look at them and I just go, yeah, I'm not convinced here. I can't remember who I'm missing now. He just doesn't. He's just not good enough for me. I just don't think he's. It sums up really perfectly. I need to be convinced on him, because I look at him. I just don't. I haven't seen enough of him yet to be able to go into the he's good category. He's still fairly long. He's still fairly young. So Diego Llorente, that's the guy I was thinking of. Koch, he does need to convince me. He fits the category perfectly. I haven't seen enough of him yet to be able to go into the he's good category. Possibly that's not because I've been focusing enough on the defence when I've been watching Leeds, and I've been focusing on their free-flowing attacking football between Ederson and Sinisterra and Rafinha when he was there, obviously, and all those top-quality attacking players. However, for me, when it comes to Robin Koch, I just do need to be convinced a little bit more. Next up, we will go for a player who's going into the he's good category, and that is Diego Carlos. Came from Sevilla in the summer, got that ACL injury early on, but at Sevilla he looked like an incredible player. And when he got that move to West Ham, everyone went, "This is a really good buy for Villa." Let's just say West Ham then. When he got that move to Villa, everyone thought this is a really good buy for Villa. So for me, Diego Carlos into the he's good category. Next up, there's 2 more players that I'm going to actually do together, and that's Johnny Evans and Sven Botman. They are just both, again, good centre-backs. Evans has been there and done it in the Prem, obviously, with United, with West Brom, now with Leicester. He's achieved things with all 3 clubs, and for Leicester especially, being a bargain at 3.5 million, he just is a really good centre-back, and he has been a solid centre-back throughout his whole time in the Prem. Botman is a new player to the Prem, however, again, he just screams to me he's good. Will he move up to that incredible category soon? Yes. I just need to see a little... Botman's going up into incredible for me because I put Bella Kopsch up there for just a couple of games. Botman just looks like an incredible player and hence suits the incredible category perfectly. And then last but not least, Niakate as of Nottingham Forest. For me, he goes into I need to be convinced. Haven't seen enough of him yet. He did pick up that injury. Forest have looked worse with him out the side, but I just do need to see a little bit more of Musa Niakate before I can bump him up to he's good. However, if Forest were to go down, I do think this would be a player that would get a move to a side like West Ham possibly. But yeah, that is the end of this video. I hope you have all enjoyed it. If you have, make sure to hit that big red subscribe button down below, drop a like on the video and drop a comment to let me know your thoughts. Go follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Daniel Talks Football, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. See ya!